Hi everyone, it's great to see you. Today we are doing one of my most favorite projects, creating a very big planter with gorgeous flowers. Oh, this is my favorite thing to do, I have to tell you. And today we are going to be using the gorgeous Mandevilla vines. I could just sit here and look at the Mandevilla all day. And we're gonna add other flowers in too. So thank you so much for joining. If you could really quickly hit the like and subscribe button down below, that really helps me, and I love being able to share this with you. We're going to use the bag in the pot method, which I learned from Mal Condon on Cape Cod, and it is my favorite method for planting large planters. If you haven't seen me do this yet, I'm going to do a quick review, and I will link everything that I'm talking about down below. So the first thing you need to do is start with a large planter. This is a 20-inch planter that I've ordered from Home Depot. I have a bunch of these. These are nice light resin, so I can cart them around nice and easily. So you need some type of large planter. And then I don't like to put rocks or empty water bottles in the bottom of my planters to take up space. I like to add an upsy-daisy pot riser. And this planter insert goes inside and it just lifts where you're going to begin planting up a bit. And they come in all different sizes. I order mine on Amazon. Sometimes I see them at local nurseries. This is a game changer for keeping it so it's a little lighter, you don't have as much to deal with, and I'm gonna have plenty of potting mix in here. So I'm not worried about that at all. So I'm gonna add this in, that's how I start. And then what I need is a nursery pot and a grow bag. So these happen to be 5-gallon nursery pot and grow bags. You want them to match so that you can nestle this little grow bag right down in here. And I always put it in right at the beginning so that it gives it some structure and strength. Otherwise, you start pouring the dirt in and your bag flops over and it can be a little bit more of a mess than you would like. Now, this is so fabulous. You have a couple choices as you begin to plant. One is you can put this in the center of your big pot, put a beautiful tall showstopper in the middle, and then plant all around the edge where it trails over and looks gorgeous. Or you can do what I'm going to do today and put it more towards the back of your pot. Now I know that this pot is going to nestle up against the stone wall here. I don't need a trailer in the back. Nobody's going to see that part. So I'm going to plant it like this so I can add lots of beautiful flowers in the front and make it look even more spectacular that way. So you decide how you want to place this in. And then you're going to plant this part up first. I tend to do this separately just because it's easier for me. And you're going to start, I find it easier, start with something that's about this size. I put a lot of hydrangeas in here. Today, our showstopper is the beautiful Mandevilla. Oh my goodness. So this is a little bit smaller than this is. So I'm going to add a little potting mix to the bottom and to the sides, but really I don't have to do too much to my Mandevilla and it will be all set. So I'm just going to scoop some of this in, and this is nice and moistened already. If you're working with real dry potting soil, you might want to moisten that before you put your thriller in. Okay. So as I'm doing this, I find that this bag in a pot method is so fabulous because look, you have little handles here. When I get to the fall, I can lift this out, put in another one and plant it up with my mums. And then after fall, take that out, put in my Christmas arrangement. It is fabulous. It's just so versatile to update your planters so easily. And I love it when it makes my life easier. Now, it also helps when you're planting something like this. A Mandevilla, you might decide to bring in for the winter. We're in zone 6B here. Okay, hold it just a second. I have to stop talking while I focus. There we go. Look at this. Lowering it in, perfect. And I'm planting it right to the top of my grow bag here. So my Mandevilla won't overwinter here, but I could actually lift this grow bag out and either bring it inside, put it in a garage, give it to a friend who has a greenhouse. Lots of possibilities. Now, let's take a look at this. I'm going to add a little soil around the edge, and I just sort of carefully stuff it in. Now, grow bags are really interesting in that as your roots grow in a grow bag, they actually grow through the edge and they hit the air because we have this little layer of air between the nursery pot and the grow bag, and that is called air pruning for your roots. It just, they stop where they are. They don't start to circle inside the pot like you would normally get with your plastic pots. Instead, it keeps them much more healthy as they grow that way. So that's another benefit of using a grow bag. That will not work if you put your grow bag directly on dirt though, because your roots will grow directly through the bottom into the dirt underneath. So you need to have it sitting in that nursery pot so that they grow through the bag and they're like, oh yeah, there's nowhere else to go. And they just stop. Okay, oh, this is looking good. A little bit more dirt and we'll be all set. Now, a third reason that this is a great choice for this Mandevilla is that the Mandevilla itself doesn't require as much water as some of the plants that I'm going to put around it. So when I go to water this planter, I actually can almost have like two different habitats for my plants. What I water in the center can be one level of moisture, and then what I've planted around it can be another level of moisture. I did that last year with my Mandevilla in the front urns, and I will do that again. You will see that soon. And it really kept my Mandevilla just so much happier. Okay, I want it straight. I think we look pretty good. So here is the moment of truth. I'm going to double check that my pot riser didn't get tilted. You want to make sure it's flat. Then we lift it in, and I want it towards the back. So I very carefully put it in. Oh, that is looking good. Now the nice thing is you can sort of play with this a little bit. My pot is not completely level at the moment, but I'm going to put some little like caster things underneath it to lift it up and make sure that that is going to be just fine. So here we have the Thriller. I feel like we're tilted a little back. Let's fix that. Okay, I think that's more the trellis than anything. That looks good. Now I have my planting space. So I am carefully going to pour the potting soil in. And I'm going to do this relatively slowly because I don't want to upset my nursery pot or the riser underneath. One time I did this and it all fell over. So nice and slow. Just add your potting mix. Any potting mix is going to be good here. Of course, because it is in a planter, you're going to want to make sure that throughout the season you are adding some fertilizer. Okay, looking good so far. There we go. And then I'm going to stop and sort of slide it around. You don't want any air pockets in here. So you just want to take your hand, gently sort of coax it around into the crevices. And last year I planted some plants in here like Creeping Jenny, some lemon coral sedum, and they actually came back. They overwintered in this rim gap space here. So it was so nice. It was like, ooh, that part's already done. I'm going to take these little handles and just tuck them in so that they don't show, but I'll know that they're there. So when it comes time, I can just grab them out. But nobody else needs to know that they're there. It is our secret. Okay, I need to leave enough space here so that I can add the annuals in, so I'm not going to pack it to the top. Okay, now when I add my annuals in, let me tip it a bit, you want to leave about an inch from the top when it's all done, because when I go to water this, I don't want the water in the dirt to pour over the edge. So you want to make sure you have that much. Oh, and let me show you what I'm going to put in here. Okay, I have some of the Proven Winners Rockapulco Rose Double Impatiens. Now these are going to get to be about 12 inches tall. So if I put these in here, I'm thinking they're going to come up to about here. They're going to bloom profusely with more pink blooms, and that sort of covers the bottom of my vine here. So this part of the vine, the Mandevilla grows and blooms on that new growth. So I keep it trimmed, but most of the flowers are going to be up here. So if I can put some things in that are going to grow about a foot high, they're really going to cover sort of the bare legs of that particular vine. So I'm thinking a couple of these, and I have, oh yeah, here we go. Browallia, which I just love. Look at those pretty purple flowers. So I'm thinking that these do great in the shade. They also do okay in the sun. So I'm thinking some of those, these get to be about 8 inches tall. That would be good. I might not be able to fit everything in that I want to. I just want to keep adding more beautiful things. And then some of the Creeping Jenny. Look at how pretty that is with that contrasting light green against the dark shiny leaves. The tiny little light, and then these beautiful big shiny leaves. I think that's a beautiful contrast. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. Let's get, and this is where it's helpful to sort of lay it out ahead of time and see what you can fit in. I am very, very good at squeezing in plants. Okay, I'm thinking those are going to be my tall pieces, and then there's still going to be space here to squish in that Creeping Jenny. Let's see how we do. Oh, I can't wait to see how this is going to look in another couple weeks. If you have a plant like this and you are really, really tight on space like I am, it is fine to just break off the bottom. Those roots are going to grow, no problem. In fact, they're probably going to thank you for it and be like, oh, I have more space. And we can just nestle this right in. And it gives us just a little bit more planting room. It is also fine just to leave them like this. Most people would break up those roots a little bit anyway. Everybody has their own special way that they like to do this, though. So if you have another way that makes you happy to plant your annuals, go for it. I was watching a YouTube video this morning, and somebody said it is a good day when you walk around and you see lots of white pots on the ground. And I agree. That's the kind of mess that I don't mind cleaning up. Okay, there's that Browallia. That looks good. And boy, it has really helped me in being able to pack these in by planting that nursery pot, placing it towards the back. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the space that I'm going to have here. Okay, let's add in some of this Goldilocks Creeping Jenny. I love the name Goldilocks. So cute. And it definitely is gold. So it's going to be tight. I'm going to take some of the dirt, or oh, there's a whole other little plant, that right off the back. There we go, and sort of separate it up. You can even pull your plant right in half like that. And that way I can nestle it in now. It's going to grow plenty and cover the edges. Look at this. I'm really just finding space for all of these. This little one I might even put back here. Why not? And they just sort of root in and keep trailing. Let's grab another one of those. Creeping Jenny is a very hardy plant. In some places it is considered invasive, so you do want to make sure that you check your area. I do not have that trouble here, but I have heard that there are places that do. I would love if it would spread a bit more here. Okay. Oh, look at how good this looks. I can just put this all around the edge. Ooh, look at how big that one is. I love how much it's trailing already. I like to get my planters in and feel like they look beautiful right from day one. Okay, we're just gonna tear this one in half. Ooh, there we go. But that lets me squeeze it in. Oh, that looks so pretty. Oh, I'm loving this. Okay, I might put another one right up here. And you probably can't tell from where you are, but looking real close on top, it needs a few little handfuls of potting mix just to sort of keep everything firmly in here together. Our chipmunks will get up here and start digging in it, so I need to make sure that everything is nice and tight. I'm gonna open another bag of potting mix. Okay. My goodness. There we go. Okay. And you'll notice that I'm getting my plants a little dirty here. After you finish all your planting, you do sort of need to brush everything off again, make sure the roots are tucked in, that everything's all nice and happy. Okay, I'm going to step back and take a look and see if there are any adjustments that need to be made. I love it. It is gorgeous. It is just what I was hoping for. And oh, I wish you could see what I'm already planning for it to look like when these flowers bloom, but I am sure I will give you a tour of how it's doing in just a couple weeks. Now, I've planted up one. Now I need to do the exact same thing for the other. I am back and I am feeling happy sitting in between these two planters here in the shade. It is a good place to be. Now, keeping these looking beautiful through the whole summer, these plants are going to need some TLC in the form of some fertilizer. So I would recommend that weekly or bi-weekly you are doing some type of water-soluble fertilizer. You can get whatever brand it is you like, mix it in with your watering can, give them a nice drink with that. That will help a lot. That's sort of like feeding them immediately. When it's in the water, they get the uptake of the nutrients right away and you're all set. I also sprinkle a time release fertilizer. This happens to be Osmocote that I picked up at Ocean State Job Lot. It works very well. They're not a sponsor. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I'm just sharing with you what has worked for me in the past. Any type of these fertilizers come in these tiny, tiny little round pellets like this, and they're pelletized because as it gets warm and you add water to them, it releases a nice little bit of food to your plants. And these are gonna last for like a month. Every month or two, I go and I sprinkle a little bit on. This is sort of like, if you think you're gonna forget the other fertilizer, at least do this and you will have made sure that they're getting something. Shaking it doesn't do enough for me. It does tell you on the back exactly how much to use per size pot or per size plant. It comes with a little scoop and you just sprinkle it in. And you want it not particularly on the leaves because it won't do any good there, but down by the base of your flowers. And then I always have the best of intentions, and I know many gardeners feel this way, but sometimes it's hard to remember the fertilizing. And this sort of covers me in case I forget. So some good time-release fertilizer, and then when you get a chance, add in weekly or bi-weekly that water-soluble fertilizer. But oh, these look so pretty. And this beautiful cascade of green is going to fill in and keep going. We'll have our Browallia, our double impatiens. Oh, now, these, for me, seem to be rabbit resistant. I'm sure if they're hungry enough, they would come and nibble them, but I really haven't had any trouble with any of these plants. The sweet potato vine, though, they would eat that in a second. So this is a good one for me to have down here. The rabbits are frequently on the grass here eating the clover, and I don't feel like this is calling them over saying fresh salad bar. Keep that in mind as you are planting up your planters. You will have to groom your Mandevilla. You're gonna have some dead flowers that you pick off. You know, it drops some eventually. The leaves tend to turn a little brown or yellow here and there. Just pick off the ones that don't look their best. Don't worry about it. It will keep coming. This has been so much fun. It makes me want to go plant even more. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.